everybody and welcome to Drag Racing Today, a big show for you featuring all the competition eliminator and Superstock action from the big meet on November the 5th and the 6th at Adelaide International Raceway. Also, Sharon will catch up with local driver Anguel, Athanasov, and also Bob Sherry, the local Superstock driver, will join us on the couch. As usual, former Australian funny car champion Geoff Pratt will be along, but right now he's down in the pits doing it tough with the Dutch Master girls with qualifying in competition eliminator.
Welcome to the West End Spring Nationals. What a fantastic event. The weather's great. 2 days of fantastic qualifying out here. And boy, was competition eliminator tough. All the way over, we've got Shane Baxter from Victoria, followed by Mick Harding, Dave Coop. What a mover in the field. Dave doing his quickest pass ever in top door slammer. Rodney Rainford over Victoria again. But guess who's on top? Danny Baines under the index. We caught up with Danny just after qualifying. Yes, Danny, last meeting, the car was a lot slower than what it is at this meeting. What have you done to improve the car to put you on the top of the field?
Well, just this weekend we've just continued with the tune-up of the new engine. It's a new combination in the car and we've been creeping up on the timing and the fuel mixtures. And last night we come out and had a lot of trouble with the track and that. It was very slippery. And so we sort of put it away and went home and had a think about it. Come out this morning and changed a few things with the clutch and away it went. And we're very happy with the Tecloid Camaro today. And tonight, hopefully, we can just keep creeping up on the tune-up, and if we can get through a few rounds, we might be running in the sixes. If not, we'll be sitting back here watching everyone else. So.
The car shook severely last night, as you said. Was that part of this problem that you've been trying to get around?
Yes, it was. These cars are very hard to keep consistent, and we've had the clutch set right for last meeting, and we thought we'd start off with that setup again. And so we went out there and the track just couldn't handle it and it shook the tyres and broke body panels off. So yeah, it wasn't really good. So we sort of backed the clutch off and away it went.
Thanks a lot, Danny. Yes, congratulations to Danny Baines. I've got a few dark horses. A few from the eastern states come over. Charles van Isseldijk in a rear-engine dragster. He's a fierce competitor, has won events all over Australia, and he's my dark horse for the Spring Nationals competition eliminator.
Thanks, Geoff, for that summary of qualifying. Time now to go racing. Here is round one of competition eliminator.
Right, Bruce, and of course, as always, it's brought to us by Tecloid. Here we have top qualifier Danny Baines taking on Sav Ali.
We continue on, we see Shane Baxter, number 5 qualifier, taking on Sergio Bernetti, number 13.
And here's a close one. 3, David Cooper against 11, Peter Capiris from Victoria.
As we continue on, number 7, Charles van Isseldijk taking on number 15, Louis Rochella.
From all over the country here, Rainford from Victoria taking on Athanasov from South Australia.
Number 6 qualifier, Colin Wheeler taking on number 14, Marcus Chambers.
And Mick Harding and Paul Grugini, both from South Australia.
Last pair, Brenton Bassett, number 8 qualifier, taking on Trevor Slaughter, number 16.
Well, there's the ladder. Here comes the competition itself now. As we look straight in here to see Bassett, and he's in the Greenhouse Superstores lane.
Yes, about to take on Trevor Slaughter in the Tecloid Performance Coolants lane. Trevor Slaughter, quite green to the sport of drag racing. Brenton Bassett, on the other hand there, Mike, a lot of experience on board.
Yes, and you may notice on the door there he's put a few strengthening pieces now. He had a few problems a couple of meetings back with the window flying out, but he's sorted all that out. They're both set to go. We'll watch the tree to trip it down now and see who comes out the winner.
Brenton Bassett takes the win with a 7:48. That's it there.
Okay. Next one up, we see, look at this, Louis Rochella in the Tecloid Performance Coolants lane, doing a big burn out there. What a great car. It has his career really blossomed in the last season particularly.
Absolutely. As we see Charles van Isseldijk from New South Wales with a beautiful looking dragster here. He's running in the Greenhouse Superstores lane. It's going to be a brilliant run in the very first round here of competition eliminator, brought to us by Tecloid.
Yes, two markedly different vehicles here for sure. Now we watch the tree here to see the difference between the two of them.
Very close, but Rochella takes the win. As we continue on, we see Colin Will taking on the Greenhouse Superstores lane. A beautiful burnout coming out of Colin.
And we're waiting to look across now to the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane in just a second, and we'll see that Marcus Chambers will be waiting there for us. Look at the smoke, they're just opening the door there to clear it all out. There's Marcus Chambers, left-hand drive configuration there in his HQ hold.
Yes, Marcus Chambers coming from Victoria, as you mentioned, a huge engine on board that car, 511 cubic inches. And Colin Will takes the win with a 7.00.
Happy crowd indeed. In the Greenhouse Superstores lane, we're looking straight coming at us there. Danny Baines.
Danny Baines, yes, a superb little runner there once again. About to take on Sav Alley. Now, Sav Alley's been away from the sport for approximately 15 years, Mike.
Is it that long?
Certainly, but he's come back big time in this beautiful looking little Alton.
It is a great machine indeed in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane, as we saw. Now, this Roadster with a classic design, the 32 Ford grille and the 27 Model T body, taking on a new monster, the beautiful Camaro there in the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Light them up, here we go, and we're off.
Mike Shines with Danny Baines from Mega Power Car Care Products down the deep end of the racetrack.
Danny, pretty good reaction with a .470, and you ran a 7.16. Did you feel comfortable with the run?
Yeah, no, it was a good run actually. It was a bit quick of what we sort of should have really done. We sort of planned on sort of hopefully getting around him before the finish line and shutting it off, and I probably left a little bit late, so that's going to hurt the index. But no, we're happy. The car's going good, you know. All the sponsors will be happy, Tectaloid, Powercoat, everyone involved, Baines Performance Engines.
Well, you certainly did pull up very quickly at the end there, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. You know, I pulled up quick, you know, got the chutes out. We didn't nearly make it around the corner here, but you know, it wasn't early enough. But oh well, we're through. Let's go and try again.
Okay, thanks.
Danny Baines very pleased. As we move on, we see Rod Rainford taking on the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Rod Rainford reigning from Victoria.
And that car is actually designed after 1932 Austin Bantam, which was built actually in America, but by the parent company Austin.
As we move on to the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane, we see Anguel Athanasov from South Australia, the AA Racing Holden Commodore, and Anguel had a superb event.
Yes, indeed. And the girls all ready there to barrack and do that little bit for us. As we see the cars move up to the start line, again, just watch the difference as each one goes down the tree. Keep an eye on that, and that just gives you indications between the cars. And one is away.
Rod Rainford takes a very easy win there with an 8.45. We continue on with Shane Baxter from Victoria taking on the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. About to run Serge Bonetti from South Australia for the Greenhouse Superstores lane.
Yes, thanks Mike. A couple of neat cars there. Now, Serge, we've seen associated with the hot rod movement for many, many years. Had a beautiful 32 Ford, still has it actually, but doesn't drag race it in this context anymore. But we'll have a look to see just how we go in this pairing.
Yes, Shane Baxter for Lakeside Automotive in Victoria, a very strong contender. Going to be a tall order for Serge Bonetti to drive around Shane Baxter. Shane takes a comfortable win, a 7.25. Paul Gagini doing a superb burnout for the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane in that beautiful looking Holden Statesman. Yes. About to take on Mick Hutting for the Greenhouse Superstores lane.
Right now, those who have been following the sport for a while realise that Mick Hutting always had the Jaguar powered car, whether it was the Roadster, the 27T, or then he switched of course into this rear engined vehicle and swapped over to the Chevy motor.
Yes, he likes the Chevy car.
There he goes.
Gunning takes a comfortable win with an 8.23.
Our final pairing, have a look. Oh, the Batmobile. What a great machine by Peter Capiris from Victoria. Take on this lovely machine, the Chevy Coupe de Ville of Dave Coupe.
Yes, Dave Coupe taking on the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. We go over back to Peter Capiris on the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Have a look at the paintwork on board this machine here of Peter Capiris, Mike.
Yes,
it is absolutely superb.
Very lovely Studebaker built in Victoria. That's the real state-of-the-art, as they call it, that machine.
Yes, a lot of tension on the start line now between these two competitors.
Well, Dave Coupe's been having a few troubles, so I wish him well in this time in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. Oops, the daisies, red light.
An automatic it went for Peter Kapiris with a 7.08.
Round one of competition eliminator there, and great to see the locals, the South Australians, including Danny Baines, Lou Rochella, Colin Will and Mick Utting, all making it through to round two. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's Superstock action and round one. Welcome back to Drag Racing today. Time now to have a look at some Superstock. Geoff Pratt, well, he's not on the couch yet, he's still down in the pits. Here he is with his summary of qualifying in Superstock.
Welcome to the West End Spring Nationals. We're just at the end of Superstock qualifying, and what a fantastic 2 days of racing we've had out here. Just for this qualifying session has been worth the money to come in the gates. An invasion of the eastern states though. But Bob Sherry from South Australia, he's come in at number 5, and congratulations to Bob. But he's the only South Australian in that group. Les Hines, Bruno Cagnetto in the Pro Stocker, Graham Walker. But the top of the heap is Nick Zarakis from Victoria in that fantastic probe. Had a lot of problems last meeting with the probe, went off the end of the track, but he's come back to beat this track and he's mastered it, top qualifying. Nick Zarakis, 0.29 under the index. Congratulations. How did it feel going through the traps this time compared to last meeting?
Oh, well, the car was actually glued to the racetrack this event. Last week, we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a couple of problems, which we fixed at the moment. And here we are today, number 1 spot in G-Gas, under the record, and hopefully we'll keep going.
Congratulations, Nick. Nick Zarakis is a happy man, and so he should be. I've got a few dark horses coming through though, and I'm still pushing for South Australians to win this fantastic event, the Spring Nationals. Tony Saravolo is my pick. I believe he won the last meeting, and I think he can do it again, back to back.
Thanks, Geoff, for the summary. We'll get you out of the pits in just a moment. But right now, let's go to the Superstock action. Here is round one.
Bruce, I don't think he wants to come out of the pits. Anyway, as we go into this event sponsored by Greenhouse Superstores, we see Zarakis, top qualifier, take on Smokey Joe Tiani.
Number 5 qualifier, Bob Sherry, take on number 13, Mick Seville.
And then we see Bruno Cunetto from Victoria up against Zenos from New South Wales.
Number 7 qualifier, John Parisi, take on number 15, Frank Schiarevolo.
Across the other side, where we notice that Walker is taking on D'Emanuel.
We continue on, we see Simon Butterworth, number 6 qualifier, taking on Richard Jansen for the 14th position.
And then we see Les Hines from Victoria up against Scarponi.
As we move on to the last pairing, Tony Schiarevolo taking on Enzo Demizio.
2 South Australians, but have a look. Here we go into the fighting mob now in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants Lane. Smokey Joe Tiani.
Yes, Smoking Joe there up against number 1 qualifier, as we mentioned earlier on, Nick Zarakis in the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Nick Zarakis got a very quick G-Gas car here. Going to be a tall order for Joe Tiani.
Yes, well, great start by Tiani.
Zarakis takes the win with a 9.40. We move on to Sam Zenos in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. This guy's from New South Wales in a very tough BMS Charger.
That's the man. And Bruno Cunetto across from Victoria once again. Great machine, this one, in the Greenhouse Superstores lane.
In fact, Bruno Cagnetto going extremely quick in qualifying. Keep an eye on the start line. Right in the end for Bruno Cagnetto with a winning 7.65. As we see Simon Butterworth taking on the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Simon Butterworth in his 6th year of drag racing, doing extremely well here in the A Street Commodore.
Yes, we've been watching his progress with great interest indeed. In the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lanes, Richard Jansman, that very fine statesman from Victoria.
Yes, from Victoria, Richard Jansen, as you mentioned there, Mike, quite a brand new car to the sport. Simon Butterworth takes a very comfortable win there with a 10.30 for the win. Rob DeManuel in the Greenhouse Superstores lane. A beautiful entry there, taking on Graham Walker for the Tectaloid Performance Coolants
The
lane.
Calais of DeManuel there, all the way across from WA. It's a long haul for him for sure, but the boys don't mind that at all.
And Graham Walker from New South Wales. Graham Walker, a very quick Holden Commodore, about to take on the earlier Commodore, also extremely quick. Look at the launch.
Lift off.
A lot of moving around there, but Graham Walker takes the win with an 8.77.
Wow, talking about a little bit of moving around. Have a look at this one.
Enzo
A
Demizio.
skatey piece in the Greenhouse Superstores lane by Enzo. His fairly new car. But then we go across and we see
Tony and Joe Sherevolo.
Yes.
Tony and Joe Sherevolo in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants
Control,
lane.
right.
Yes, the beautiful Holden Monaro on the green light. Tony Sherevolo takes the win with a convincing 10.58. A very happy crew.
Yeah, you got it. Now this guy we met a few times last meeting round. Great character, John Parisi from Victoria, and he's occupying the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane, whereas across in the Greenhouse Superstores lane we see this time Frank Cerevalo in the Tirana, South Australia. What a lift off!
Parisi doesn't take the win. It's Frank Sherevolo with a 9.28 for the winning time.
Whoa.
Seb Scarponi burning out in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. Have a look at this motor vehicle.
A great machine. And then Les Heinz from Victoria, been racing here for, golly, must be about 15 or so years, I think.
Yes,
and he's
the
occupying the Greenhouse Superstores lane there. This should be a great pairing between these guys.
Oh, Seb Scarponi's car's in trouble. There you see Les Heinz selecting another gear, but he takes the win with a 9.73. Let's move on to Bob Sherry in the Greenhouse Superstores lane there, Mike.
And just have a look at the smoke that he is pouring off, boiling those back hides as we look across to Mike Saville in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane.
Beautiful car there for Mick Seville, but Bob Sherry, the ASV Commodore, about to take on a very strong contender. Both these competitors are from South Australia.
And two very fine Commodores indeed too. Well, definitely a South Australian Commodore has to win this one.
Sherry takes the win with a 10.23, and Mike Scheid is with Bob Sherry for Mega Power Car Care Products.
Well, Bob, looks to be a pretty good weekend starting out for you there with a win at 10.2.
Did I do a 10-2 then? I'm back right off. Oh, that's really good. Looking good for tonight. Looking good. Can't wait.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Well, after round one in Superstock, the highlight must be Bruno Cugnetto. In Pro Stock form, he's run a 7.65, which is under the national ET record. Bob Sherry also doing very nicely. We'll catch up with him a little later on in the show, but right now we're going to take a break. When we come back, Simone from Tectaloid with some handy hints.
After the break, we'll be back with more on drag racing today.
And here is round two of Competition Eliminator and Superstock.
Thank you, Bruce, and still sponsored by Tectaloid, where we see Danny Baines, top qualifier, taking on Shane Baxter from Victoria.
Next pairing coming our way, Peter Kapiris from Victoria taking on Louis Rochella from South Australia.
Yes, and across the other side we see Rod Rainford from Victoria taking on Colin Will from SA.
As we move on, we see Mick Udding from South Australia taking on yet another South Australian, Brenton Bassett.
And first run up we see Udding take on Bassett. Now Udding there in the yellow car is in the Greenhouse Superstores lane.
Look at the burnout there from Brenton Bassett in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. A superb burnout coming out of this young man. He knows he's got a very tough competitor right beside him. That is Mick Udding in that superb dragster.
Yes, the very great dragster. As I said before, Chevy pad. Brenton Bassett in the Scorpion, just opening the window out there, the door to let all that smoke out.
Look at the crowd in the background there, Michael Scheid. I can tell you a huge crowd here at Adelaide International Raceway as we wait for the green light for the drag race.
Udding will be first away.
Gutting takes the win with an 8.16 this time round. Let's continue on with Colin Will in the Tectolite Performance Coolants lane. What a burnout.
And look across the Greenhouse Superstores lane. There we see Rainford in that beautiful little car of his.
Yes, Colin Will residing from Port Pirie here in South Australia. A beautiful looking Ford Thunderbird. He's almost ready to take on the start line, as is Rod Rainford.
In the Roadster. So all eyes down upon him first. I think he will be first away. Yes, he will be.
Rod Rainford takes an easy win with an 8.20, 206 kilometres per hour.
Baxter this time, Shane Baxter. He's in the Tectolite Performance lane, and he's taking on, in the Greenhouse Superstores lane, Danny Baines.
Yes, from South Australia, and a very strong burnout there from Danny Baines. Have a look at the crowd, they're saying brilliant stuff coming out of Danny Baines. A beautiful looking Camaro, looked after by Tectolite.
That's the one. And the Roadster, of course, of Baxter is, as we mentioned before, modelled after the Bantam.
Shane Baxter, a tall order here against Danny Baines. Have a look at that. Shane Baxter takes the win with a 7.01, and look at his crew. They are over the moon.
Great finish, Louis Rochella. Louis Rochella in the Greenhouse Superstores lane, stoking it up, and not to be outdone comes Peter Kapiris.
What a burnout from Peter Kapiris in the Tectolite Performance Coolants lane. The man from Victoria, he knows he's got a strong contender right beside him there, Mike.
You're not kidding. Boy, oh boy. Yes, quite a few years difference in their experience, but Rochella's team have just come on great guns.
Yes, the Batman mobile here of Peter Kapiris. He's been in drag racing for a great number of years and loves every minute of it. I can tell you that now. In the meantime, Louis Rochella, he's trying extremely hard for South Australia.
Been unlucky before, we'll give him luck this time.
Troubles there for Louis Rochella. The win goes to Peter Kapiris with a 7.15.
Moving down to Superstock, round 2, again being brought to us by Greenhouse Superstores, where we find that Zarakias now comes up against Bob Sherry.
As we see Bruno Cognetto taking on Frank Scherevelo.
And wait folks, there's more. Walker will be taking on South Australia's Butterworth.
As we move on, we see Les Hines from Victoria taking on Tony Scherevelo.
First up, Simon Butterworth. Now here we have the South Australian Commodore in the Greenhouse Superstores lane, but across in the Tectolite Performance lane, another Commodore, this time from New South Wales, Graham Walker.
Yes, Graham Walker taking on the Tectolite Performance Coolants lane. A beautiful model down here. In fact, a very quick machine, Michael. He is capable of setting a brand new record here tonight at Adelaide International Raceway.
Here's his chance, he's got to chase Butterworth.
Walker takes the win and he goes under the national record with an 8.48.
Most beautiful too. Now we see Tony Scherevelo is in the Tectolite Performance Coolants lane, but right now in the Greenhouse Superstores lane was Les Hines.
Both of these machines are capable of going under their records this time round, Mike. Les Hines from Victoria, the beautiful Holden Camaro, about to take on Tony Scherevelo from South Australia.
SA just moved up very slightly and he's got away nicely.
Takes the win from Victoria with a 9.21.
Well, Bob Sherry, here's your chance, boys. South Australian Commodore occupying the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Across in the Tectolite Performance Coolants lane, Mike, we have Zarakias in the Vic Ford Probe, and he's away.
Yes, and the number 1 qualifier has just red lit. Bob Sherry takes an easy win with an 11.65.
Back to the start line, we see Frank Scherevelo on the Tectolite Performance Coolants lane, smoking it up there.
About to take on Bruno Cognetto in the Greenhouse Superstores lane. Bruno residing from Victoria in the Oldsmobile Cutlass, and this gentleman here has already gone under the Pro Stock national record here tonight.
Beautiful car, and the mob love this one for sure. Intense look as he looks down towards the end there. Frank's away first, Bruno to follow. Super strong run from Bruno Cognetto, a brand new national record, 7.65.
Round 2 action there from both Competition Eliminator and Superstock. And joining us for his comment, former Australian funny car champion Geoff Pratt and Geoff Bruno Cognetto, another fantastic pass.
What can you say about Bruno? He's just a brilliant racer, brilliant in pro stock. Come over just to practice basically and just get his eye in for the track for the pro stock round, which is back in Melbourne. It's just been run.
Now, talking about what can you say, Tony Ciaravolo you picked to go through. He's had a shocker.
Yeah, he blew it for me. I'm going for South Australians. It's been an invasion by the eastern states, and I was really hoping for a South Australian to go through, but Tony's let me down. No back-to-back runs, obviously.
One local, Bob Sherry, though, but he's up against Bruno in the semis.
Well, Bruno's going to be tough. Bob's got his work cut out for him, but Bob cuts a great light. You never know.
And talking about the locals, Mick Arding, he's the last bloke left in Competition Eliminator.
Just back to what I was saying before. An invasion of the eastern states Raiders, as I'm calling them at this stage. It's great to see Mick carrying the flag for us. I hope he can go all the way.
Thanks, Geoff. We'll be back with the semi-final action shortly. We'll take a break here on Drag Racing Today, but when we come back, Sharon catches up with local racer Anguel Athanasov.
Welcome back to Drag Racing Today. Our next guest began racing in street meets in his wife's car and went on to achieve his own fastest personal time in Competition Eliminator at the Victorian Championships only last year. To find out more, let's talk to Anguel Athanasov. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sharon.
It was in '86 that you began racing in your street meets, but how did your wife feel about you racing her car?
Oh, she was pretty good about it. She let me take it and hop up the motor a little bit for her.
So she was pretty quick at the shopping on Saturdays?
Yes, she was pretty good in the shopping centres.
Now, in '93 you began racing your own car in Competition Eliminator, but it's taken a little while to iron out some of the problems?
Yes, in '93 we put in the Keith Black, and it's taken me a long time to get the right combination right and the right engine settings so we can get down the track pretty fast.
Now, this season's already brought you quite a mixture of highs and lows.
Yes, in the last meeting we ran our best number with a 7:10, and then of course we went into the kitty litter. It wasn't too good.
Does that happen very often?
No, not with. That's the first time I've been there for a long time.
I guess you had to visit it once or twice. Now, what would you say would be the most frustrating aspects in drag racing?
The frustrating things are the people who come up and ask for advice and they keep changing all their engine combinations and not sticking with what they first start with. You know, it's a pretty hard thing with racing. Everything costs a lot of money. And sometimes it happens that people tell them something and they want to change, and of course it slows the whole process down.
Where do you see the future of the sport heading?
Future of the sport, I think, is looking fairly okay. We've got a lot of cars coming through, a lot of cars that can come through, you know, which people are involved with, other people, which is good for Adelaide, good for the sport.
And you mentioned earlier you feel like TV will take a big part in the sport?
Yes, I think TV will be fantastic. The show is really good for the different people, different aspects of the sport to get out to the public. It should be fantastic.
Now, your involvement doesn't just stop with your car, you're also the treasurer of SADRA.
Yes, the South Australian Drag Racing Association. I look after the money, not a big job, but we do it. It's a good thing for it's a club set up, very good for the new people coming through, old people that are in. You know, things are changing all the time in drag racing, rules are being put forward, and you know, people need to be abreast of what's going on, so it's a good thing.
How long have you been the treasurer?
Oh, for 3 years now.
Okay, so you've been quite involved. Now, life's not all about racing though. I heard things are pretty hospitable around your place.
At the Flinders Lodge?
That's right.
Thank you, yes, very good, yes.
How long have you been there?
Well, we've been with the family there for 20 years.
I guess it involves some fairly long hours and plenty of time.
Well, we do as much as we have to, yes, we can. Get on with it. It's pretty hard at some times and not too hard in other times.
Well, it doesn't sound like you get much time to relax, so I think you should put your feet up, sit back and relax while we check out all the semi-final action of Tech Deloitte Competition Eliminator and Greenhouse Superstore's Superstock.
And thank you, Sharon. We shall begin with the Tectaloid competition elimination ladder, which shows us here Baxter. Baxter is about to take on Capyrus.
As we go to the other side of the ladder, we see Rod Rainford from Victoria taking on Mick Udding from South Australia.
Okay, here comes the pairing. We're first looking now at the Greenhouse Superstores lane, where we see Rod Rainford in his very fine little roadster coming up against Mick Udding in the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane, and there he is just backing up for us now.
Yes, Rod Rainford actually holds the Sea Dragster record that Mick Udding is actually competing here tonight. Yes. So it's a very strange pairing we've got coming our way this time round. But Mick Udding, this guy can go super fast in Sea Dragster. We'll find out whether he can crack the record or not.
Well, of course, Udding did take out the competition win, didn't he, last meeting here?
Yes, and Rod Rainford, he knows he's got a serious competitor right beside him. Any of these guys can take this race. It's going to be a pearler.
Chevy badge up there waiting to just give it a big push down the line. So it waits on the guys to trip the lights, and here we go, folks.
Mick Udding takes the win with an 8.10. There's Rich Lee, his crew chief. He's very pleased. Let's go to the Tectaloid slow motion replay. This race was so close all the way to the finish. Let's cross to Mike's side with Mick Udding for Mega Power Car Care Products.
Mick, we have it that you ran an 8.10.
An 8.10. That's better than what we've been going today. We're hoping to go a little bit quicker than that. Reaction time.
Quick off the line, 4.47.
Very happy with that. That's what we were looking to do. I think Rod thought we weren't going to be there at the end, and he just clicked it a bit too early, and we were there.
He pulled up in a bit of a hurry.
Yeah, I noticed he didn't have a chute coming out there, a lot of smoke coming off it, so yeah, very lucky.
But we're safe. All the best for the next one.
No worries. Thanks, Mike.
Good driving there from Mick Udding, but now Peter Capyrus, what a burnout coming out of the Greenhouse Superstore lane.
And Shane will hear the mob loving that too. Well, he has to take on Shane Baxter in a great little Bantam Roadster across the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane.
Yes, both these entries do reside from Victoria, Michael, and just quickly for Peter Capyrus' machine, have a look at the air intake on board. That doesn't that look violent?
Wicked. Absolutely wicked.
Okay, Shane Baxter getting guided back by his crew chief. Right now, they're putting those rear tyres right onto those burnout marks that they just laid there for the extra heat for the traction on the start line.
Because the maximum traction there is just going to be so crucial. Again, letting all that trapped smoke out of the vehicle. And a lot of the guys find that they take a big breath beforehand, so they don't want to suck in all that smoke and stuff then, and then they don't really breathe again until about 10 seconds later when they're down the other end.
Absolutely there, Mike. Very hard to breathe on board these machines as both drivers come up towards the start line area. This is the very important part of the race, the start line. The concentration from these guys is right now 100% as they wait for the green light.
Lights pretty close together and we're off.
Super tough race, but the win does go to Shane Baxter with a 7.08. There's the crew. They are elated and they are wrapped from Victoria. They take a win in the semi-final.
Well, your light was a pretty tight cut, 0.410.
Oh, wow. Geez, that was a lucky one. I knew it was good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. But I probably needed it to win anyway, but it's a good race, yeah.
Well, against Peter, it had to be a fairly quick one. You actually ran a 7.08.
Well, it's consistent. That was very similar, but moved around a lot. But it was an enjoyable ride. I enjoyed it. No worries at all.
Cruising well.
Yeah, well, we've got a final run. We're not there yet, but we're not far off. Thanks.
As we take a look at the Greenhouse Superstores Superstock Elimination Ladder, we see Bob Sherry about to take on Bruno Cognetto from Victoria.
Yes, and the other pairing we'll see is Graham Walker taking on Les Heinz.
Bob Sherry for the Greenhouse Superstores lane starts to heat up those rear tyres big time down here on the drag strip, Mike.
Yes, indeed, and he's in the Greenhouse Superstores lane, looking across the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane there.
Should be Bruno Cognetto.
Yes.
Whereabouts is Bruno Cognetto? This could cost Bruno big time. If he doesn't front up to the start line, he is out of competition. It will be an automatic win for Bob Sherry. Well, let's keep an eye on the start line. There's no Bruno Cognetto. There it is. An automatic win for Bob Sherry. Mike Scheid is with Bob Sherry for Mega Power Car Care Products.
Bob, you're into the finals. Did you take it easy that time?
Oh yeah, I did. It's not nice, you know, to not put on a show for the crowd. They're here to see some action, but I'm trying to save my index so I can win the final. So sorry people, but in the final I'll give it all it's got.
All the best for it.
Thank you.
Graham Walker takes on the Tectaloid Performance Coolants lane. This guy here has got a real potent machine in C-gas.
Absolutely. Now, across into the Greenhouse Superstores lane, here he is, Les Heinz. We had trouble catching up with him during the night. He was so quick, couldn't manage to catch him at all. But
a very quick man, yes. Les Heinz, he is the record holder for E-gas and the very quick Camaro. We go back to Graham Walker. This guy would love to hold the record for C-gas, so there it is on the green light.
Lift off by both.
Les Heinz takes a convincing win with a 9.02, a brand new national record. In fact, 2 brand new national records as we take a look at the Tectaloid slow motion replay. In fact, let's go to Michael Scheid, who's with Les Heinz for Mega Power Car Care Products.
Well, Les, it must feel good to be into the finals now.
Well, it's the first runs we've had since the Winter Nationals, and that was one tough run.
And you ran a 9.02 after a reaction of 0.532.
Yeah, I knew I was a little late on the light, but it wasn't worth the effort to try and cut one. We figured we had a little up our sleeve, so I was lucky.
Well judged.
Thank you.
Right now it's time for a break, but there's lots more action ahead here on Drag Racing Today.
Have you seen this snazzy new calendar yet?
Have I seen this calendar? What a beauty. I was down there looking with Lisa and Bob Sherry and Bob's lovely wife Debbie. I think it's a fine publication, and while I didn't buy one just yet, I'm certainly going to take a couple home. Ideal Christmas present, I thought.
Welcome back to Drag Racing Today, and we've seen some great semi-final action in both Competition Eliminator and Superstock. One man who's very happy to have made the final in Superstock is Bob Sherry. He joins us on the couch now. Bob, welcome to the show.
Bruce.
Now, the semi-finals, Bruno had a great meet so far, national record, and suddenly didn't show for your run.
Yeah, well, he gave me an easy move up into the finals, but it's not a good way to get there. But, you know, I really like to put on a show for the spectators.
And you would have been happy to race against him. You're saying your segments down the track were faster than his?
Oh, yeah, they were very good. That particular run, I was by myself, so I tried a few things. And yeah, I don't know if the viewers realise that the track is actually divided up in different sections. And we've timed all the way down the track, and my car was 3/10 quicker to half track than it's ever been, so that run would have been a 10-0.
And you backed off halfway down?
I'd back off to save my index. The index controls our handicap, and you've got to save it. You know, it's not a nice thing to do in front of all the spectators, but you know, I have to do it.
How do you reckon he would have gone, Geoff?
I think he would have done really well. He needed to cut a great light. But other than that, I think he would have done very well. It would have been a great final.
Now, the other disappointing thing on the night, though, was that the track was closed due to the time because the top fuel left a lot of oil on the track. Now, what happened with the top fuel, and what could have happened with the finals in Superstock and Competition Eliminator?
Well, as we saw from the last show, Bruce, the fuel is both broke in the final. They both oiled the track down. Now, the sport really needs a great track, and that track was brilliant on the weekend, but oiled the track down. We have a thing called a curfew. Now, it's happening throughout Australia. The 11 o'clock is the curfew. So that's it for the competition. We can't run any more after 11 o'clock, and we're going to take too long. So it's very simply put, we couldn't run the finals. As disappointing as it was, we just couldn't run them.
So what happens to the fans? Obviously walked away disappointed. What happens with the points?
Well, the points are all allocated on the semi-final money. Or should I say that it's not the semi-final money is allocated amongst all of the races. So that final four, they got their money allocated to them. They also got the points allocated equally as well. Now, ANDRA, the controlling body of drag racing, has come up with this idea. It's a great idea. It's great for the races. The racetrack pays out, so nobody misses out. It's unfortunate that the racers and the fans, they both lose.
Well, Bob, obviously you were disappointed, but also you sounded pretty confident you would have gone reasonably well in the final.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good there, Bruce. The final was between me and a Victorian, Les Heinz, so it's really exciting. Win or lose, it's exciting when it's a close final. And I was looking pretty good.
And it was a big night out there, of course, with the top fuel. A big crowd turned up. Perhaps that was the one disappointing thing for the night.
Oh, it was very disappointing, but, you know, the EPA put a clamp on, noise restriction at 11 o'clock, and that's it. You just got to live with it. Me and Les Hines have got 80 points each now, so we're both theoretically leading the series. So I'm going to Victoria next meeting and see if I can kick some butt.
All right, Bob, just before you go, I have to ask you, we had your daughter Lisa in here last show talking about the calendar. What did you think when you saw your little girl on the calendar?
Oh, I'm very proud of her, She's, good looking, takes after her dad, No.
Turn it up.
Bruce, I've also got to add that he ripped the engine out of his daughter's car as well. That's how much he really enjoyed the calendar.
So poor Lisa's suffered and he's going very well.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in, and good luck for the rest of the season.
No worries.
I hope you have enjoyed today's show. We look forward to next time on Drag Racing Today. Have a good afternoon.
I'm a drag junkie from way back. I love it.
Drag racing, we're here.